Hey, hey everyone, can you see me still? Hello? 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 Oh no. What on earth happened here? Hey. So wait a minute. Okay, so obviously something happened. Thank you for the subscription. I have no freaking clue what just happened in the chat. I think the Streamlabs went down. So we're just gonna do another one, just talking. I think I'm gonna take a little break from playing video. That game was taking a lot out of me, so I saved it. And just chatting. Just chatting, just chatting. All right, just chatting. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess I was just, avenge me, brothers, avenge me. Um. So, did my other live stream just continue to go up, or what the hell happened? I'm trying to figure this out. What I'm trying to figure out what happened. So obviously, I did a stream that was about 4 hours ago, and now we're doing a whole new stream now. Well, that is that's rather disappointing. I've come back from the warp. Thank you so much for the subscription. Now we're at. I'm writing that down. We got 6 subscribers. I'm back. Thank you so much. Wow, we went from 9. Now we're up to 15. That's so great. Cool. All right. That is so cool. That is so cool. 8. Oh, thank you. Hey. Hey. Yo, thank you so much for this. I know a lot of people are doing a lot, and there's a lot of content creators out there. Thank you so much for the subscribers. We are very, 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 very grateful for all the support we are getting on this channel. So, all right, let's see. I've been playing for a while, and I do got some errands to do. But, however, a deed is not glorious until it's finished. So you know what, chat? How many of you are here? Because I can't tell because I got to bring this up with my team now. How about we just watch some videos, right? I'm thinking about watching some Japanese samurai documentaries from this great channel. They do a lot of great work. And we'll just have some fun. We'll just have some fun. We're gonna have nice little documentary. And so it's many forms. You know what? This came out just recently. We're gonna watch this, right? Nope, that's not it. Nope. Ah. There we go.
When today we think about the qualities and characteristics held by the samurai throughout the centuries they existed, one of the most key elements we popularly have come to associate with them is a sense of tremendous loyalty. Loyalty they held not only to their own lord, but also, of course, their own family. However, as many of you may already be well aware, this idea of samurai loyalty is one that is much more complicated beneath the surface. As the deeper you look, the iconic image of the dutiful, honor-bound, loyal samurai gets torn down to reveal the face of the reality of this warrior class. Obviously, it is true that the samurai held loyalty as a virtuous aspect to their lifestyle and role in society. Yet to say that each had the same outlook, interpretation, or specifically ways they adhered to their own loyalties varied from one samurai to the next, especially during bitter times of war when loyalties were the most tested. So this is what I want to talk about here today, the interesting truth behind what really was the concept of loyalty to the samurai, and how it often differed, not only between themselves, but to how we often view it now in retrospect.
Had it.
Now, the primary way I'm going to go about discussing this topic is by taking you through the chapter examining samurai loyalty in Anthony Cummins' new release, The Book of Bushido, the complete guide to real samurai chivalry. But don't be fooled. Here Anthony is not saying that the concept we today call Bushido was similar or the same as the European concept of chivalry. In fact, quite the opposite. In this book, he examines many different aspects of samurai philosophy and lifestyle, using stories, writings, and events from real samurai history to help us try to better understand the samurai themselves. And this is largely done under the frame of the concept of Bushido. Now, as many of you may already know, a while back I made a video about the myth that was Bushido. I will leave a link to it down below.
Finally.
But in that video, I went through how the idea we have of Bushido today never really existed in a single form during the age of the samurai, as Bushido itself is more of a modern
We'll
concept,
pretend it didn't
one
happen.
that arose during the Edo period and was later widely popularized by Nitobe Inazo's famous book, Bushido, the Soul of Japan. It was really here that we start to see it get incorrectly heavily compared to that of chivalry. Bushido was never a formalized code or any official single philosophy the samurai followed. That is all a modern pop culture myth. The samurai were known to adhere to a wide range of philosophical beliefs, which today we like to all place under the term Bushido. And one of these aspects we so often associate with Bushido is that of loyalty. Now, in Anthony's Book of Bushido, what he first does is try to compare and contrast aspects we associate with that of Bushido to that of chivalry. Things like loyalty.
So I want to pause it here for a second. So here's the thing. In some of my live streams, yes, I do like to talk about history. And there's one channel called The Shogunate, their YouTube channel. He does a lot of great work. And he's also done some film reviews of Japanese movies. Some of them revolve around samurai, in that time. But this is really good stuff. I like this. I like this channel a lot because, one, my bias here, my family has a lot of connections in Japan, and I do want to play all of this. So we're just gonna have just like a fun little chat. Thank you again. We just got 8 subscribers right now. Thank you all so much. Really, that is such a huge boost. I'm gonna tell the team as soon as I'm done with this live stream. The issue that came up with Streamlabs, which is BS. I'm sorry about that, folks, but we're gonna continue back to those games because I want to finish the Shore with Cthulhu, and I do want to finish that Necrosis game. They are here. That's a fun demo, but I don't think I'm gonna play it again. Maybe some of the other reactors will play it, and Siren Head will get back to it. And I do want to finish Prey of the Gods, but I got so much I want to make sure that we take care of this. So one was my family history in Japan. My uncle, who passed away in 2020. He served during World War II, and he was stationed in Japan during the occupation. I have relatives who are Japanese. My mother and my stepfather lived in Japan, and I've been to Japan twice. It's a beautiful country. I love the history. I love the culture, and the food is just exquisite. So there we go. Number one. So Jagzita Kit, history question. Do you know why they rang the bell at noon? No, I don't. And then Draconic Legion Omega says, these must be part of the Emperor's inspiration for Jagatai Khan, even though I'm pretty sure they're mostly Mongolian, hence inspired by Khan. Yeah. The White Scars are inspired by Genghis Khan, but I think Games Workshop did miss out a chance of making one of the Primarchs into a samurai. And I had an idea to make, if I want to do my own homebrew, make like a Primaris Space Marine chapter. And it's already been done because I looked on Google already. Like, people have already made like Space Marine chapters that are maybe samurai based. But yeah. And so I just joined back in time to watch The Shore. Jagzita, I don't want to be morbid, but for me as a European, it's a little bit weird that you were a Marine and have Japanese connections. I mean, obviously, I've cousins who are Japanese. I know I'm Caucasian. So there we go. It is what it is. Yeah, but my two cousins are Japanese. I visited them in 1998. I had a wonderful time there as a kid. My mother and stepfather lived in Japan for 5 years, and I visited them in 2020 before the whole world went batshit crazy. And yeah, I was there for 5 weeks. Saw Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima. Really loved it a lot. So there we go. Let's see what else we got here. Dexter Drone. I love Japanese and even Chinese culture and also history. Very interesting stuff. Very honorable. Hmm. Two of my best friends, I think, are part Japanese. In fact, they have some Asian royalty in their blood. Ooh, I never knew that. Okay, so let's enjoy the rest of this. This is going to be our fun little history thing. So I like to watch history. So there we go. Let's
Bridge,
enjoy it. Just
respect,
chill out.
and much more. Something done to really help us know that these two concepts, although they are comparable to a degree, are definitely not one and the same.
And thank you
and
all
should
for the
not be viewed as
subscriptions.
such.
Really, really, thank you
Now,
all.
I
This
myself
is
was
so
lucky
wonderful.
enough
Thank
to
you.
be able to proofread an early draft of the book, as well as receive an advance copy, and I can tell you firsthand this is a great read for helping you understand the realities of the modern concept we have of Bushido. Of course, many of you may be jumping to your keyboards to comment that Anthony is not the only person to have written about this subject. However,
Keyboard.
what Anthony's version does do is tie into the series of books he has been releasing about samurai warfare and lifestyle, both through his Book of Samurai series and Book of Ninja, works using historical documents and interpretation to help paint an image of feudal Japan. Now to add on to the set, Anthony chose to cover Bushido, which is really great to see, because Anthony's latest release on top of other books and works from other authors about this subject are really all helping to change the idea we have about Bushido, shifting it away from the false depiction of it pop culture has ingrained into many people's minds. So below I'm going to put a link to where you can get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido. I highly recommend it. But with that said, let's get on to actually talking about samurai loyalty. As I previously mentioned, loyalty is something we often associate with Bushido today, for obvious reasons. Being that so much about the samurai mindset has been lumped into the concept of Bushido, one of its most defining characteristics is that of unwavering loyalty, not only to one's lord, but importantly to one's own family and one's beliefs. As stated before, loyalty is often regarded to as a virtuous concept. It is one every warrior and soldier has adhered to throughout history, be it loyalty to a family, loyalty to a lord, loyalty to a state. And each of these shades of loyalty bring with them a multitude of other colors. So, let's go through them. In the Book of Bushido, Anthony Cummins lays out the many different forms of loyalty there are in Chapter 6, the section all about the samurai's view on loyalty. We have true loyalty, freely choosing to support a superior without coercion or indoctrination, and with no care for financial gain. This contrasts with paid loyalty, loyalty made of a monetary arrangement in exchange for service,
Mercenaries.
loyalty which only lasts as long as the contract or payment does. We have loyalty of cause, when two parties share similar goals, and thus a bond of loyalty is established in aims to achieve such goals, holding loyalty to what one is trying to achieve and not necessarily to any single person. But then we also have indoctrinated loyalty, loyalty that in a sense is coerced through either persuasion or intimidation. This is similar but not entirely the same as pure loyalty by force, where loyalty is a matter of survival, where often one's own life is under threat should they not be loyal. Yet, interestingly enough, there is also what we can consider as generational loyalty. This is a set standard of loyalty that throughout the generations of one's family have remained true. It is here loyalty to a lord or cause becomes more about prestige, honor, and tradition. Which then brings us to the concept of loyalty to the people, where one's loyalty boils down to those they are in charge of, and especially sympathizing or having a feeling of obligation to those beneath them. Now,
I really, really like the artwork so far. It's very beautiful. So there you go. Just wanted to throw that out there. So, I hope all of you are doing well. Draconic Legions, the victors were not always good people, unfortunately. Yes, I know, sadly.
Through these different forms of loyalty, we can really dissect what samurai loyalty was, using each of these definitions, because each of them fits with shades of samurai. And it is important to remember that different forms of loyalty and idealizations of loyalty can be seen throughout different eras of the samurai. The idea of samurai loyalty during times of war is different from that seen during times of peace. Specifically, these two different lenses of loyalty can be best viewed during the Sengoku Jidai, Japan's age of warring states, and then through the Edo period, when Japan came into a long era of peace under samurai rule. Personally, I believe the most pure examination of what loyalty meant to the samurai comes in during times of war. It is here we get the most thorough image of what loyalty meant to a wide range of samurai, and there are many examples. It is easy to see a wide majority of famous samurai who had genuine true loyalty. Figures such as Honda Tarakatsu, Okabe Motonobu, Shimizu Muneharu, Naoe Kanetsugu, and so many more. These are just a few examples of samurai who understood their position in the world and did not question it. They fully believed in their lord and the clan they served, and were unwavering in their commitment. But true loyalty is also a complex subject, often whittled down to who you are really showing that true loyalty to. Take for example Azai Nagamasa, who decided to support his longtime ally, the Asakura, rather than his own brother-in-law, Oda Nobunaga. Nagamasa was more loyal to the long relationship he held with Asakura Yoshikage than he was with Nobunaga, who had just seized the capital and was appearing more and more power-hungry. In this case, he chose not to be loyal to the Oda, but rather to be loyal to his long-standing ally. Another example is easily Sanada Masayuki. Now, Masayuki is someone who went through a lot. He had seen his brothers killed at the Battle of Nagashino and had witnessed the sad, slow decline of the once great Takeda clan he served. Once the Takeda were defeated, he and his Sanada family were really out for themselves, yet he was determined to keep his family name alive through the period. This resulted in him several times over swearing his loyalty to different lords, only to shortly after abandon them for a stronger one. We can see in the end, Masayuki held no true loyalty to any overlord after the Takeda, but now only held true loyalty to his family and no one else. But what then of those who were paid for their loyalty? Those who held no true loyalty but gave their service in exchange for compensation. During the warring eras in Japan, it was common for complete families and larger clans to be snuffed out by one another, in many cases leaving scores of samurai unemployed, as the daimyo they served had been disposed of.
Man, feudal Japan, talk about a war zone right there, man. It was no different than Europe, but yeah. Kid, by the way, if you like history, I can suggest a YouTube channel called Simple History. It has some very interesting stories. You know something? I'm going to check it out the next time we go live. So usually when I do live streams, Jagsuka, I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But when I'm done playing games, I do like to watch, like just to decompress, some fun documentary videos. So I will check it out. And every Saturday, 1 p.m. is when I go live. So I got to finish up The Shore, and I got to finish up playing that game, Necrosis. Because, oh, god damn, those two games seem to be kicking my ass. But I got farther than I expected in The Shore. So I'm very happy about that. So far, everything went great until the live stream decided to shit on me.
These Ronin, masterless samurai, would in turn then look to seek out new employment. In some cases, they would join up with a new clan who they would end up forging a new sense of true loyalty for. But in many instances, service was essentially a job, and it mattered not who they served, as long as they were paid for doing so.
And thank you all so much for staying.
Payment is also a factor that maintains loyalty as well, and that lords often saw as a means to keep their subjects in line. In the Book of Bushido, Antony uses the example of Tokugawa Ieyasu to show how he used payment to ensure loyalty. It is here, he states, loyalty does not always pay. Tokugawa Ieyasu gave some of his most loyal men the lowest salaries, but he also rewarded them with the most important strategic positions. Less trustworthy men were kept at a distance but with a higher income. On the surface, it seems unfair to have given more money to less loyal retainers, but Ieyasu evened up the score by making sure that life cost them a lot more. Yet for some, loyalty was not about who you were in service to or how much you were compensated for your service. In some cases, loyalty was held because of belief in a cause, whatever that cause may be. Now, it is easy to confuse this with true loyalty, as they can be very similar, and oftentimes, matters of true loyalty can be argued that they were just loyalty of cause. One of the most prime examples, I feel, is that of Sanada Nobushige, known today as Yukimura. For many years after the Battle of Sekigahara, Yukimura had been living in exile after the defeat of the Western Army, whom he had supported. Yet when news came of a new conflict brewing between his old enemy, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and that of Toyotomi Hideyori at Osaka, Yukimura returned from his exile to support the Toyotomi heir. Now, like I said, the case could be made that this was Yukimura showing true loyalty towards the Toyotomi, whom he had supported in the past. But another path, perhaps along with what true loyalty he held for the Toyotomi, was that he was also taking yet another opportunity to make a stand against the Tokugawa. The matter is open for debate. Another interesting example one could make is that of Hirate Masahide, who was loyal to his clan, but not necessarily to his own lord. Masahide, for example, took it upon himself to commit a protest act of seppuku in aims to force his lord, the young
Venus Blue. Let's see, Dexter Dunn. Good night, sir. Have a wonderful day. Oh, thank you. Wow, this video's actually pretty good. Tindy, I'll be off to bed, so good night, Kit. Take care. You know what? Take care of everyone. Seriously, I mean, I'm really surprised how today's stream really went well. It's we started from 9 subscribers and now we're up to 16. That's very beautiful. Had a lot of people join in. I got past that one level that was killing me last Saturday. Don't worry, that fucker Cthulhu owes me money and he's gonna pay up. And then we played a lot of other fun games. I definitely, cause see, yesterday I want to acknowledge they are here because we didn't have it in the chapter, but nonetheless, it's great stuff. I mean, seriously, everyone, I'm really happy that all of you joined us here today. This was a fun live stream.
Oda Nobunaga into acting less like a fool. All this for the sake of the betterment of the Oda clan itself. Yet, loyalty was not always something that was freely given, but something given under pressure. Such was the case of indoctrinated loyalty and loyalty by force. This is where, once again, we are going to talk about Tokugawa Ieyasu, who for many years supported the powerful first unifier, Oda Nobunaga. Although we can often ask, was Ieyasu really loyal to Nobunaga because he believed in him, or was his loyalty a matter of self-preservation? In reality, it was more of a mutually beneficial relationship, one that was somewhat symbiotic. There were times when the Oda needed the aid of the Tokugawa, for example at the Battle of Anegawa, a battle in which the Tokugawa greatly aided in Nobunaga's victory. But there were also other times when the Tokugawa needed the Oda, such as the times when the Takeda launched campaigns westward. Ieyasu knew he needed the Oda in order to survive. Thus, when rumors began to spread of his wife being involved in treasonous conversations with the Takeda, Ieyasu had no other choice than to order her death. But it didn't stop there. Under pressure from Nobunaga, Ieyasu was also forced to order the death of his son as well, believing that his son may eventually try to act rashly to avenge his mother's death. In fear of losing everything by displeasing the powerful Nobunaga, Ieyasu had ordered the deaths of both his wife and son. In the long run, this grim decision would pay off. The Tokugawa clan would survive and Ieyasu would remarry and have more children with which to carry on his name. But either way, the loyalty he showed to Nobunaga by making the hard decision to order the deaths of his wife and son were obviously decisions made under immense pressure. But while some were grappling with these strains of loyalty...
How crazy is that? He had to kill his wife and son. Man. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit, man.
Others found it to be an honorable privilege, one passed down through generations.
That had to be. That had to take a toll of him.
Antony describes the interesting tale of Kanazawa Chube, whose family for 11 generations served the Soma clan. To them, it was a privilege, and there was indeed a certain desirable prestige in the longer a family held true to one clan.
Yeah, now you're right, Natalie, in the Matrix.
Chube, As his forefathers had all died in battle while in service to the clan, he would continue this storied tradition by committing seppuku to follow his lord into death, an act known as junshi.
By the way, Natalie, in the Matrix, you missed out on some fun. I don't know if you were watching some of the earlier live streams, but we had a lot of fun video game adventures. There you go.
And while generational loyalty like this was indeed a great obligation, there were other times when loyalty was also an obligation to those under a samurai. Times when a samurai held loyalty to his people. There are some fine examples of samurai lords who felt this obligation, with one once again being that of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who Antony reminds us was said to have eaten the same type of wheat porridge that the lower class did, as to share in their suffering during times of war. Of course, during the Sengoku Jidai, territory was at times exchanged quite frequently. Yet once a stable power established themselves over a domain, it was important they form a bond with the people under them, lest they suffer a revolt. Now, so far we have talked about all the ways that samurai were loyal, but now let us address how many of them were also not. But before I get into figures who are usually considered a bit more devious, I need to also point out that disloyalty was not always reflected negatively upon a samurai, as disloyalty could also be seen as a matter of belief or disagreement. The primary example I want to use for this is that of the many samurai who once served Toyotomi Hideyoshi, but then would later fight against the Toyotomi in the build-up to and at the Battle of Sekigahara. Samurai such as Kato Kiyomasa, Fukushima Masanori, Hosokawa Taraoki, and Toro Taketora. Many of which chose not to support the...
This is such beautiful artwork. You know, I love, that's the thing I really love about Japan. The artwork, the architecture, the culture, everything. This is very beautiful. Very, 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 very beautiful. And yes, I'm also a connoisseur of Japanese whiskey. It's so delicious, so beautiful. There you go.
Toyotomi because the Toyotomi faction was being championed by a figure they all distrusted, Ishida Mitsunari. So in turn, they pledged themselves to a figure they saw as a more stable and logical leader, Tokugawa Ieyasu. Their disloyalty to the Toyotomi was not directly aimed at the Toyotomi family itself, but was instead aimed at the man who was leading its faction. However, many other samurai were disloyal largely because they had become ambitious opportunists, not necessarily holding loyalty to anyone other than themselves. Such was the case for many lords who committed acts of Gekokujo, the lower toppling the higher. Samurai who either broke away from their overlord or usurped them in aims to establish their own regime, with three fine examples being Hojo Son, Sue Harukata, and Akechi Mitsuhide. Hojo Son was one of the first of the Sengoku daimyo, a figure who built up tremendous influence under the Imagawa clan, then broke away to form his own clan. Sue Harukata was a samurai who became displeased with his lord Ochi Yoshitaka and thus assassinated him, installing a puppet Ochi daimyo so that he could embark on new military conquests he was unable to do before. And then of course there is the most infamous tale of all, that of Akechi Mitsuhide, who betrayed Oda Nobunaga in 1582 at the Temple of Honnoji, ending the reign of Japan's first great unifier. However, to this day, Mitsuhide's own motives remain obscure. For many samurai, loyalty was actually something that needed to be earned and not willingly given. Hence why, during the Sengoku Jidai, we often see many prominent samurai switching sides, abandoning one lord for another, never really holding any actual sense of true loyalty or loyalty to any cause. Many of Japan's famous samurai lords...
Yeah, man, so you got a lot of snakes, you know? You got a lot of rats out there, so you got to get your snakes in line. But when your snakes get out of line, you got to get your eagles in line. There you go, man. Damn. Everyone's backstabbing everyone. I will not tolerate any dissent. All of you are my samurai warriors. Don't you dare betray me. I mean, my goodness, this is incredible. See, this is what I like to do. I like to watch these documentary stuff. This stuff just blows my mind sometimes.
Suffered the defection of prominent samurai beneath them. It was a common thing during the Sengoku period, and one that always had to be looked out for. And thus it was not uncommon for samurai lords to often put the loyalty of those beneath them to the test, sometimes by even lying to them to say that their service had been terminated, only to see how they would react. However, the most important defection of all no doubt occurred during the Great Battle of Sekigahara, when a large portion of the Western Army under Kobayakawa Hideaki, under fear of the Tokugawa, turned coat to attack the forces of Ishida Mitsunari. But moving forward past the Battle of Sekigahara, loyalty would be a major concern for Ieyasu as he established his new Tokugawa shogunate. It was here, as Japan entered into the Edo period, the new shogunate really tried hard to force an idealization of loyalty, propping up figures who were known to show great loyalty and shunning those who were seen to have not. This in turn led to a championing of figures like Minamoto no Yoritomo, who established the first shogunate in Kamakura, downplaying his lust for power and instead painting him in a positive light for bringing order to Japan. While figures like Ashikaga Takauji, founder of Japan's second shogunate, were seen more negatively, specifically in his case for abandoning his loyalties first to the Kamakura shogunate and then later to the restored emperor. In actuality, there was little difference between figures like Yoritomo and Takauji, but they made for convenient propaganda. However, this was only one action the shogunate took to ensure new loyalty. Others included continuing policies that placed heavy restrictions on the owning of castles, along with forcing daimyo to spend portions of their time in Edo. On top of all that, by 1611, the shogunate would even introduce a new oath of allegiance which daimyo were to adhere to. In the Book of Bushido, Antony lists the many new rules of this oath that samurai lords had to abide by throughout the Edo period. These include: promote the study of letters, arms, archery, and horsemanship. Reduce the number of drinking parties and social events.
Oh, come on.
Refrain from hiring
everyone wants to drink and
lawbreakers,
have fun.
rebels, and murderers. Do not associate with people from other provinces. Report any social changes or new factions. Follow new marriage restrictions for the samurai class.
Okay.
Limit the number of retainers you bring with you to Edo. Obey restrictions on types of clothes that can be worn and on the use of palanquins. Be thrifty. And appoint people who are suitably qualified. And although none of these rules outright enforce loyalty on their own, altogether they create a set standard that samurai lords were to live by, which in turn created a new sense of enforced security and stability. There was much to be done to ensure that all the daimyo remained in check, and of course this was not always enjoyed by the daimyo themselves. And by the end of the Tokugawa shogunate in 1868, many samurai clans had become eager to rebel for one reason or another. In all honesty, the question of samurai loyalty is a very murky subject. Although the samurai were a people that idealized loyalty, the loyalties they held often differed, coming in many different forms. While plenty, during times of war, were often known to discard any semblance of loyalty whatsoever. Loyalty was something that samurai valued, but in many ways, the reason behind the value was different depending on the samurai. While some held true to their clan, family, or cause, others took pride in the honor of serving a clan for generations. However, many were also simply out to make their way in the world, only giving their services to those who paid them, while in other cases, only serving who they believed to be the strongest and most legitimate, with the worst offenders simply just shown to be out for themselves. And although all these shades of loyalty were common during times of war, it would be later during the reign of the Tokugawa shogunate when the idea of loyalty and what it really meant to be loyal came into a new light. Especially when you factor in the views on loyalty that were written down by figures like Yamamoto Tsunetomo, and even, of course, the actions of the 47 Ronin. As I mentioned earlier, today, samurai loyalty is continually wrapped up into the overall concept of Bushido, and it is not hard to see why. The virtues of loyalty were ones that became championed during the Edo period, which then in turn would become ingrained into the growing concept of the Way of the Warrior, Bushido. It is easy to see how idealizations of samurai society would make their way over into the growing philosophy of Bushido that became more and more held in high regard and would later explode in Nitobe Inazo's book. By that point, loyalty had become a core aspect of not just the samurai anymore, but Japan as a whole, an ideal that had been ingrained into the population by the Tokugawa
Take care,
shogunate,
Dexter Dunn.
a powerful
Thank you so
military
much for
government
joining us.
that ensured peace in Japan for over 2 centuries.
Take care and good
Once
night.
again, if you want to learn more about the concept of Bushido, or maybe just more about samurai loyalty, I highly recommend that you go check out Anthony Cummins' new release, The Book of Bushido. You can find a link to where you can get yourself a copy down below.
Interesting.
And with that said, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you
check out
enjoyed
this channel if
video
y'all ever
and
get a
found it
chance.
to be most
It's
informative.
called The Shogunate. Very good channel. Called The Shogunate. Check it out. I can't recommend this channel enough. This YouTuber knows what they're doing. So when it comes down to history, well done. Well done. So, all right. I'm going to be wrapping it up too. Everyone, oh, it's connected to my country. Bell News is actually connected. Okay. Okay, well, Matt, is it to Hungary? I don't know the answer. Before I end the live stream, can you give us the answer? Please. So there we go, because I'm going to be wrapping things up. Draconic Legion Omega says, I have posted 4 Warhammer memes, or memes, or memes. There you go. Matt says, in the year 1456, we won the fight against the Turks, and for the victory that we saved Europe, the Pope ordered the bell at noon. Oh, yes, that's right. Because Hungary held back the invasion of the Ottoman Turks. The Ottoman Turks who took Constantinople. Istanbul, Constantinople. Which one's name is it? What is the name? So there we go. All right, I really enjoyed today's live stream. Today's live stream was a lot of fun. And yes, I will return back to Warhammer and Battlefield Classic. But those games, I'm putting them on pause because there's a lot of other fun games people have been recommending. The Lizard People will return, I do promise. And we'll play Battlefield Gothic when I get a little bit better. Because I'm going to play that game. I don't want to just be like, oh, I'm stuck in this level. I keep on losing. Like, come on. There's a lot of mechanics there. So I want to, excuse me. I just want to get better. So there we go. Had a lot of fun. Next Saturday, hopefully we can finish up the shore. And then we can focus on Narcosis. And I do promise to return back to Pray for the Gods. So we're going to make that stuff happen. Had a lot of fun. And I do like Pray for the Gods because it felt like, Shadow of the Colossus. But I don't know, for some reason it seems like a lot of fun. And from what I've heard, the rumor I've heard about that game is that it was developed by 3 people. They don't have a studio. It's 3 people who are developing that game. That's incredible. So, all right, there we go. I'm up out of here. Heading on out. I hope all of you have a wonderful Saturday evening and a wonderful Sunday. Take care of yourselves, and be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chicago Reacts, Chicago Movies and TV. I actually recently reacted to a movie. I won't tell you what. You'll have to find out. The only way you're going to find out is if you're subscribed. So subscribe to Chicago Reacts. Subscribe to Chicago Reacts Movies and TV. Be sure to subscribe to us here and follow us here for Chicago Plays. And Chicago Plays also has a YouTube channel as well. So there we go. I had a lot of fun. You guys were great. Really humbled by the 7 new subscribers that we just got on our channel. Please take care of yourselves. And thank you so much. And sorry about the technical delay. I'm going to have to bring that up with my team because I don't know what happened. So Streamlabs collapsed, but I have to bring it up with my team. So there we go. Take good care of yourselves. And let me also write this down before I screw everything else up too, because I'm just all over the place today. I am all over the place today. So this has been about what? How long? All right, there you go, folks. Please take care of yourselves. Goodbye, and all the best. Had a lot of fun. See you next Saturday.